Wow, episode 14 was a tough one to get through, not only because it was over 5 hours long, which is always challenging, at least for me, but because of the emotional roller coaster which ended in Dorian leaving the campaign. We'll talk more about it later, but I was always a little confused about Dorian. I at first thought he was just a guest player for a couple of episodes. Then I figured he was a permanent character because so many episodes happened, and I didn't really understand why they really needed an 8th player. But when I thought that Robbie was going to be a permanent player, and this is coming from the perspective of being Asian. If you didn't know, I'm Asian underneath all of this. I sort of thought if they were going to incorporate a new permanent player, it would have been nice if it was a person of color. And I apologize if that sounds self-serving, but let's face it, there really isn't much melanin among the Critical Role players. But Dorian was not a permanent player, obviously, even though he stayed around for 14 episodes, which you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that's unprecedented. And I wonder if there won't be more characters introduced that stay around for those long stretches. If anyone knows, let me know down in the comments. And while you're there, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I recap and review campaign 3 of Critical Role in terms of story because I am the BookTube goddess, the #1 drag queen booktuber on YouTube. If you haven't guessed, there will be spoilers. We also get the official name of the party, which is what this campaign will probably be referred to going forward, Bell's Hells. In this episode, we get the conclusion of the events of the ball. The main event where we left off last week was Ashton somehow getting into a duel with General Ratnish, the leader of the mercenary group, Paragon's Call.
There is kind of a crescent-shaped crowd around where the center of this kind of grass-covered small hill is, where you can see General Ratnish, the half-giant brute, step up there and kind of shrug off parts of his kind of hide and fur armor with bits of metal as he pulls the edge off his shoulders and kind of throws it to the ground with a heavy you see he just kind of like flexes and starts throwing some punches to the air. Oh. And just kind of cracks his fingers, and his eyes just don't leave being locked on you as he steps up to the center of that space.
Anybody around got a drink?
Kind of looks
in the
at
crowd?
You see an older woman comes forward with what looks to be a flute of some sort of a bubbly drink.
I think I need that more than you do. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
He's going to die. No. Throw first punch.
Sure.
Just kind of leans forward.
I headbutt. I'm going to rage and headbutt.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So
you're breaking the rules.
Haven't thrown a punch yet.
So as you feel that burst of energy hit you, go ahead and roll your d4.
Oh, wow.
25 hits.
Okay,
so you do
7 points of damage.
7 points of damage. Crack! The resounding impact and the sound of bone and cartilage impacting kind of immediately causes this brief in the air as you take the first hit. He watches General Ratnish.
I get a second attack now.
If you want to take a second one, yeah.
I want to take a second attack.
Do it. You do.
Just a good ear boxing as I back off.
Go for it. After he reacts for a second and comes back with a bit of a grin, you can see the blood already beginning to pour from the nose as the sides of the head get hit. He puts his arms up to try and block it, but you're just a little bit too quick. Whack on the sides. He's kind of Now roll initiative.
This is basically a boxing match, and a huge crowd has gathered to watch them fight. And it's entertaining, at least from the audience perspective. FCG buffs and heals Ashton from the sidelines, but Ratnish has some sort of fire feat. Ashton eventually is knocked out, and since he went below 0 hit points, he has to make a death saving throw, and he rolls a 1. I really like seeing when players are obviously really attached to their characters, and Taliesin, who plays Ashton, was visibly upset that his player was so close to death and was calling out for help.
Like, after that, he catches up to you, grabs the back of your head right as you start to catch your senses for a second, and then wham! Hit the stone, and then he just kind of grinds you across the ground.
Stone on stone.
Everyone can hear the heavy sound of stone grinding against stone, and your body drags across of it as you're trying to find some sort of purchase to get yourself back into a place of control. The crowd just like, oh God, people like cheering, yeah, get him! What are you doing?
I'll let you know if I hit.
I also take 2 more points of fire damage.
Oh, I take 2 more points of fire damage?
2 more points of fire damage.
3 or 2?
3.
I'm out.
As it drags your face into the stone, you feel your consciousness begin to fade.
Oh, what a way to like end it.
But then the heat just picks up and darkness takes you.
Full road rash.
The rest of you watch as General Ratanish releases him on the ground, gets up and ready to fight, and goes,
Is that it? Well, that is mildly disappointing, but not entirely.
grabs the back of his shoulder and kind of picks him up off the ground. You can see his feet dragging in there and goes,
Gentlemen,
and tosses your unconscious body over to one of the Paragon Call members who grabs it. Go ahead and roll a death save.
Help. Help.
They're not gonna kill ya. They want to work with ya.
Natural 1.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
That's 2 death saves.
Oh, Jesus!
As you land in his arms, goes, boss, he's not doing well. You really did a number. He's like,
patch him up. He earned it at least.
Ashton and General Ratnish uses his win to hype up Paragon's Call in some sort of marketing campaign. But he also offers Ashton a job because of how well he did. But let's go back to the Chetney storyline because that's where all the action is. Chetney hooks up with Imogen and explains what he witnessed in one of the private back bedrooms. Lady Emoth was transformed into some sort of monster and was ransacking a room with the help of these weird little creatures. Imogen realizes it sounds like the same situation they experienced before with Duger and the Shade Creepers. There's a bit of a game of telephone as the information is relayed to the rest of the party. There's also a bit of comedy relief when Lord Eshtaroth asks about the real ring of Lord Treshy after they swapped it with the ring with the tracker on it. FCG has it, gives it to Eshtaroth. Fern asks for the ring for herself, and after Eshtaroth gives it to her, he warns her to keep it hidden. So what does she do? She slips it on her finger.
he's looking anxious and uncomfortable.
I'm gonna link my arm in his. The object has been acquired.
You mean delivered?
Do you have it already?
No. We put it on. It's okay. We put it on his thumb. Yeah.
Esherov's kind of like takes off his glasses and
No,
cleans them.
hold on just a second.
Okay.
Wasn't the whole thing because we needed to give you his? No, it wasn't at all. I understand.
She doesn't know the mission. But you know what though? Bonus, I do have the ring off.
As soon as you hold it up, Esherov's like snatches it from you and says, "Be careful."
That was my lunch.
What are you gonna do with that one though?
Just remove it from any possibility of it being linked to us.
I know, but I think I should wear it.
Don't go flashing it anywhere.
I will.
I could eat it if we're trying to get rid of it, or I trust Fern to
You decide.
conceal it.
Just
He trusts me.
don't go showing it in public anymore.
And kind of hands it over.
No,
No, Fern, no, please, Fern. She's got Fern. It'll cover it up. Oh, fuck.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
The way Ashley Johnson chaotically plays Fern is quickly establishing her as one of my favorite characters. Fern continues on her path of chaos by deciding to go off on her own to investigate the room where Chetney saw the Shade Creepers and Lady Emeth. Fortunately for her, she is joined by FCG. Meanwhile, Dorian and Chetney also go to the back because Chetney wants to warn the guards that something happened in the back room in hopes that they'll go and investigate. Somehow, Dorian joins up with Fern and FCG on the pretense of playing a visit to the bathroom. Dorian throws an illusion of someone screaming out of the room that Chetney told him where he saw the Shade Creepers. The guards go to investigate and then disappear. Fern investigates their disappearance and hears strange noises coming out of the room, coming to the conclusion that the guards are probably dead. FCG is, of course, the one to rush in to go to their aid, and immediately they are set upon by Shade Creepers, and then, of course, Lady Emeth joins them by running along the ceiling like some sort of creepy mutated Spider Woman. We get the classic uh-oh situation where major combat is going down and the party is split up. But eventually, Oreb, Chetney, Lana, Ashton, and Imogen arrive, and once the whole party is joined, they defeat the Shade Creepers. Chetney, of all people, is the one to save one of the dying guards, but Lady Emeth escapes down one of the mysterious holes that the Shade Creepers use and says something about, "She will help me." Which I guess is a reference to an as yet unknown boss. We know she's unknown because since Emeth gendered the person, we know it cannot be Valley Dertana, Armand Treshy, or the Nightmare King. Is there some sort of queen bee type creature that's causing all these mutations? We later learned from Cyrus, Dorian's brother, that she often talked about Mother being her business partner. So I'm wondering if there is sort of a queen entity that is behind all this grotesque mischief. Okay, speaking of Cyrus, that's the last major incident of this episode. Remember, he said he was working for Lady Emeth, and the party finds out that he's been captured by the guards. Dorian goes to rescue his brother, and this whole interaction was kind of nail-biting for me to watch, because in most scenarios this would have ended in disaster, but with the use of darkness spells, a smoke bomb, Lord Ashtaroth intervening with his cane, and a lucky roll that allowed Dorian to charm one of the guards, they're able to rescue Cyrus, turn him invisible, and sneak him back to Lord Ashtaroth's manor. We learn that Cyrus was hired by Lady Emeth to steal things from rooms, which he took this job in order to pay off the bounty on his head. Oh, and we also learn that the room that Lady Emeth was ransacking was where Professor Grizz was staying. He's the goblin archaeologist that we met last week, who may have had a lead to Adjet Dale. Putting everything together, whoever this mystery organization is that's behind all this chaos that the party keeps bumping into, it seems to be after a lot of arcane information and materials, and they have connections to the highest levels of politics. We know they hired the Nightmare King, some legendary dark fae creature. We know they're smuggling magical components. We know they're stealing magical items like that golem. We know they're interested in research with the Red Storm. Everything is connected, but we just don't know enough to put it all together. Everything that's happening is just outside our grasp, and it's a mystery that keeps us coming back for more. Okay, back to Cyrus. Here we get the surprising conclusion to the Dorian story. At least I was surprised because I had no idea this was coming. Dorian and Cyrus look a lot alike, so there's a bounty on Cyrus, and Dorian is apparently suspected in the destruction of the moon tower. So Lord Eshtaroth suggests that Cyrus and Dorian should skip town for their own safety. And there is a touching scene at the end where Dorian floats the boat that Chetney made for him and gives it to a random child on the street.
If you were to look where the carriage went away as it pulled away, left floating there, where the carriage just went away, with Levitate on it, is just a little toy boat. And a little kid from the street runs along and snatches it off and runs down the street.
I love it. And that's where we'll end the episode. We'll end it there. Robbie.
It will be love. That's all you wanted, right?
You could tell that the other cast members were pretty broken up, as several of them teared up, including Matt Mercer. Now, did anyone see this coming? I really got to like Dorian, so I'm shocked that he's left so abruptly without any sort of build-up. I know I kind of made fun of him last week because of the comedy of errors regarding the ring heist, but I also said it's what made the episode so entertaining, and it made it my favorite episode of the season. I hope his leaving didn't have anything to do with that. I'm pretty sure it didn't. In fact, Imogen, or Laura Bailey, apologized for losing her temper. Now that I've gotten to know Dorian, I'm really sad to see him leave. But again, I'm kind of confused why he was there for 14 episodes, which are a lot of episodes. And at least I didn't see his presence really adding something new to the plot. So I'm not sure what was going on there. I will say that it was enjoyable seeing the game through the eyes of a less experienced player among more experienced players, because it was a reminder of how most of us started playing D&D. If you don't know, I'm also reviewing The Legend of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime, which has just completed the first season, and you can see that video here. Until we meet again, may all the books you read and the campaigns you play in be blessed.